following demonstration, I'm going to show you how a single line in your Niagara license will determine whether or not you have an open system, specifically the brand ID and accept workbench in. Two examples that we will be working with today is a Webs branded Jace and workbench and an open Vicon branded workbench and Jace. You'll see accept workbench in on the Webs will be stated as such, and the Vicon simply has an asterisk. This is what causes this system to be open here. I'll start by opening a Webs workbench, Web Pro AX, and we'll take a real quick look at the local machines license. And we have this same brand feature name, brand ID Webs, accept workbench in Webs. This device here I've got labeled as closed. This will, for all intents and purposes, be our proprietary system. Taking a look at its license, you will notice it has the same Webs license. Brand ID will be Webs. Accept workbench in is Webs. I clearly had no problem connecting to this Jace. The open example here will be the Vicon Jace, and taking a quick look at its license, we'll see we have brand ID Vicon, and accept workbench in is an asterisk. So I had clearly no issue connecting to this platform as well, due to the asterisk and accept workbench in. Remember, I'm still in the Web Pro AX workbench. I'm going to close that workbench out and open a Vicon workbench. So you can see now I'm in Workplace AX. Again, we'll take a quick look at the local machines license. It's a Vicon license. Brand ID is in fact Vicon. Accept workbench in is the asterisk, which makes this an open workbench. Again, I should have absolutely no problem connecting to the open Vicon Jace. Taking a look at its license, same thing. We've got brand ID Vicon, workbench in is an asterisk. Now, as you can probably guess, my closed Jace here that had the Webs in that license, when I go to connect to it, I simply get an error, access denied, remote host does not accept brand Vicon. The brand of this workbench and my license did not match that feature line brand accept workbench in. I'm going to go ahead and close this out for the next demonstration and go back to my Webs workbench. And now I will demonstrate further the importance of having the brand ID and what this can mean as far as an open or closed system. So you'll see on the network I have two controllers. Part numbers are going to be PUB4024S, which is a Honeywell Spider micro Spider controller. And then I have the exact same controller, part number -ILC, which stands for individually licensed controller, which means that this is in fact an open controller as well and not proprietary. So to demonstrate that, um, we'll first on my OpenJS, so this is the Vicon JS. I'm connected to it with a web station, with a web workbench rather. So we know that the JS is in fact open. However, if I try to download this labeled closed controller, which does not have the -ilc, I immediately get this error. License error. Possible reasons are current license does not support this feature. Appropriate certificate file is missing in certificates folder. And that's because even though we have an open JS as a supervisory controller, the controller in the field for the terminal unit is in fact proprietary. The jar file associated with this particular controller is in fact looking back at the license as a brand and saying, whoa, I'm a webs controller and you're a Vicon JS. If I try to download the open controller, which is the -ilc, individually licensed, so now this means that we're open all the way down to the field level controllers. I'm now working from a webs licensed workbench connected to a open licensed Vicon JS, downloading an open licensed Honeywell Webs controller. And you can see we went green and downloaded with no issues. We jump down to our Honeywell closed JS, and if you remember correctly, connect to the platform again real quick. License manager, webs license, brand ID is webs and webs. So now at this point, not only will I be able to download the open controller, I will also be able to download the closed controller or proprietary. So the fact that I can download this controller at this point may seem like a good thing, but it's really not. Reason being is, looking back at the license, I at this point, being a webs dealer, webs workbench, and webs JS, have the ability to download this, but I would be the only one, the only vendor able to download this. What we ultimately want for an open system would be the open license, regardless of vendor or of brand ID. We want workbench in as an asterisk, which will accept any vendor's workbench, and we want ultimately open license controllers out in the field so that regardless of the workbench and JS installed on the system, we would be able to download this.